Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for the games of Week 1 of the 2023 NFL season. So I'm going to start out first game, Carolina at Atlanta. Well, to be very frank and honest, I don't know much about either of these two teams. Neither one, I don't think, has really great expectations for this season. Atlanta's at home. That's basically, the tiebreaker. That's generally when I'm, ambivalent on teams and in games, I generally, a lot of you may know that have seen my videos previously, I go with the home team, and this is no exception. I'll take Atlanta to get this one done at home, but it'll probably be a tight game. And the next game. Now, Cincinnati at Cleveland, and now this game may be a little more compelling than people give it really credit for, because I understand, Cincinnati, in a lot of people's minds, would be the overwhelming favorite over the Cleveland Browns. But the thing about it is, if I'm not mistaken, I heard one of the analysts or commentators say about this game that Cincinnati, that Joe Burrow is like 1-3 or 1-4 against Cleveland all the time. So it may be a little closer than people anticipate. It's going to be at Cleveland, but I am going to take Cincinnati to get this done, because if Joe Burrow is actually 1-3 or 1-4 against the Cleveland Browns, it's time to get another W. And I think they kick the season off right with the W. And I want to let you know, I'm going to be kind and rewind. I went the Detroit Kansas City game. I know this is technically one day late, this NFL prediction video, but I actually did. Of course, I took KC in that one. I got that one wrong. So kudos to the Lions for getting the job done. And, they're a team to be reckoned with. I think they're going to be a tough out for pretty much anybody this season. Now, next game, I'm going to take Jacksonville on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. In this particular game, Jacksonville, they got very, high expectations. They definitely superseded expectations last season. Trevor Lawrence has turned out to be really phenomenal quarterback. I think what we're going to see with the Jaguars this season is going to, resemble more of what we saw in the second half of last season from them, as in contrast to the first half. I think they keep this momentum going. I actually think they should win the division. I think they'll make it a close race between them and Tennessee, but I give Jacksonville the slight edge. They're good enough to be, this Colts team is basically, I believe, in like a reclamation type of mode, a rebuilding mode. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville on the road in this one. Now, in the next game, I'm going to take, it's going to be Tampa Bay at Minnesota. I'll take Minnesota at home in this game. And I think we got to keep in mind that, the Lions are getting all the rave reviews, and, a lot of people are picking them to win the division. I believe they'll win the division, but we can't discount, Minnesota and be oblivious to them, because Minnesota, they did go like 13-4 last season, and they won a lot of tight games. I understand this season, a lot of those tight games may be losses as opposed to wins. But, they do have most of their nucleus intact. They lost Dalvin Cook, but they may still be good enough to win the division. So I think, in this particular game, they're good enough to win Tampa Bay, to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. So they will get this win, I believe. So I'm taking Minnesota at home. Now, the next game. Well, the Tennessee Titans are on the road against the New Orleans Saints. I actually was originally predicting the Saints to win this one, but I'm going to reluctantly take the Tennessee Titans to get this done. The Titans last season, as many other seasons, they're undervalued, and I know they went 7-10 last season, but that was largely attributed to Ryan Tannehill missing a plethora of games, and this season should be go a little bit different, and they'll actually make it, I believe, a tight race for that AFC South crown against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think a lot of people are just kind of undervaluing the Titans right now, and they're looking at Jacksonville's like this overwhelming favorite to win the division, but the Titans cannot be discounted. I mean, there was a time last season when they were like 7-3 or 7-4 or something, and they were when Tannehill went down. Of course, that's when the season just kind of plummeted and fell apart for them. But they'll be okay this season. I think they're good enough to beat the Saints. My understanding is the Saints, their defense may not be the best. I haven't really researched the statistics like I had previously, but I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to win this one on the road. Now the next game, San Francisco 49ers at Pittsburgh Steelers. Now the 49ers are one of the favorites to come out of the NFC this season, and they're going at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Steelers may actually be decent this season. They may make the playoffs. They're kind of like a borderline playoff team, I believe, this season. The 49ers, though, are a team that just missed the Super Bowl last season, and in their last game of the season, that playoff game, when they lost to, I believe, the Eagles, I think they didn't really have much of a quarterback situation going for them. But now, if Brock Purdy stays healthy for the whole season, and they got Christian McCaffrey, I mean, this is a team, and if the defense holds up the part, they can go. They could play dividends, or they could really go deep. They may come out of the NFC this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the NFC actually, and they'll play and playing the Super Bowl. I'm going to take the 49ers to get this one done on the road. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Washington Commanders at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Commanders, my understanding is some of these analysts, NFL analysts and commentators have been talking about the Commanders may be a very improved team. Probably not improved enough to win the division in the NFC East, but they're good enough, I think, to beat Arizona. I'm not really sure, what's going on, with the quarterback situation there and the coach, if it's going to work out all right, on this team. Is Arizona on its way down? And I think we're going to find out more about them this season. But the Washington Commanders are improved enough, I believe, to get this job done at home. So I'm going to take the Commanders. Now the next game, Houston Texans at Baltimore Ravens. Well, it's really, not much, to really think about or analyze as far as this game goes. The Houston Texans, they're in that, reclamation mode themselves, kind of like the Indianapolis Colts. You're looking at, Houston did have a very good draft. I understand that they may, be more competitive in games than a lot of people think, but they probably aren't going to win more than 5 games this season. And the Baltimore Ravens are actually a pick by many to win the division. It's probably going to come down. It's going to be a good race between them and the Bengals. I actually like the Bengals to win that division, but Baltimore should make it a tough race. So I'm going to take Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. I believe they're in a situation now where he's at least somewhat content. I think that's a very good thing for this team. We'll see how the defense pans out. So I'll take Baltimore to get this one done at home. Now the next game, we got the Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears. Chicago at home. Probably I'm not going to really show much love for the Green Bay Packers in this one. Take the Chicago Bears just barely to get this one done at home. Some people are talking about the Bears being really, at least somewhat improved this season. The Packers now, I mean, they had Rodgers last season, and they still, they missed out on the postseason. I don't really see how they're even going to get in the playoffs this NFL season without him. So we're going to, they've lost players like Randall Cobb, and the team is completely it's like it's in that rebuilding mode and starting from scratch. And the Bears, I believe they still have Justin Fields, and we'll see how the Bears play out this season. If they're going to be, they may be competitive. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but they may be at least a little bit improved compared to last season. So I'll take the Bears to win this one. Now the next game. Well, Las Vegas Raiders are going to be on the road against the Denver Broncos. Now, the Denver Broncos, I'm going to take them at home. It may be a tight game. The Broncos, with Sean Payton at the helm, he's really seems very no nonsense, and this is a season where a lot of people are anticipating a comeback year for Russell Wilson. Could he be the comeback player of the year? Probably wouldn't be much of a stretch for him to get that. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think the Broncos right now are going to be, they're going to have some, more discipline on this team, and I think right now, the offense is going to be better than it was last season. I'm not sure how the defense is, but the defense may have actually kept Denver in some games last season, so they may be, they're around about a 500 team, I think, this season. They should be good enough to get this done. I'm going to take Denver at home against the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the next game, Philadelphia Eagles at New England Patriots. So, in this matchup, well, we're going to find out if the Eagles have that Super Bowl hangover. A lot of these teams, that lose the Super Bowl one season, they're notorious for not playing well the next season. But I don't think that'll be the case with the Eagles. The Eagles don't have really that tough of a schedule, at least in the first half of the season. Second half is when they're going to be strongly tested. And the Patriots right now, we're going to see what's going on with quarterback Mac Jones. My understanding is he was not really great under pressure or duress last season. We'll see if that improves. And I believe they had signed Ezekiel Elliott. We're going to see if that could take a little pressure off Mac Jones. This game may actually be tight because it's at New England, but I think the Eagles still are good enough that just from a personnel standpoint, I don't see how they're going to lose this game. I'll take the Eagles on the road in this one. Now, the next game. Well, in the next game, Miami Dolphins are going to be at the LA Chargers. Now, this is a game, one of those 50-50 coin flips, but I'm going to take Miami to get this one done on the road. The Dolphins, whenever Tua plays, they are very formidable when he is on that field. We just have to, hope, if you're a Dolphins fan, that he stays out of that, concussion protocol and concussion mode, and that he will be okay. And the offensive line will give him the adequate protection that it needs to give him in order to avoid being in that concussion mode, and that's going to be very critical for this season, obviously, for him. The Chargers, they got really one of the best quarterbacks in the league with Justin Herbert. They got, I believe, good offense on that team. I'm just going to take Miami to get this done with Tyreek Hill and get their offense just be a little bit better in this one. And I'm going to take the Dolphins to get the W on the road. Now, the next game. Got the LA Rams on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. Well, what makes this intriguing this season is that for Seattle, we're going to see if last season was a fluke or aberration, or they can continue to make improvement. They're going to challenge the 49ers for the NFC West crown this season. Geno Smith, is he going to continue to evolve and progress as a quarterback? I believe he will. I do think that Geno Smith has actually found some comfort in Seattle. I think he found like a real home for himself, where they do appreciate him there, and sometimes that makes all the difference in the world. And I think though Seattle will continue to play well this season, they could get in as a wild card. And the Rams, I'm not really too sure about what's going on with them. Are they going to continue on a downward spiral? Or are they going to be a little better than last season? Maybe they bounce back and play better than last season, but are they good enough to win the division or make the playoffs? I'm not really sure on that, but I'm going to take Seattle to get this one done at home. Now, the next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants, and I'm going to take Dallas on the road in this one. Dallas has really dominated the Giants in recent times. They've won like 9 or 10 consecutive games against my G-men, and I would like to pick the Giants, but of course when we make, when I do my NFL predictions and analysis, I got to be objective and you take emotion out of the equation. And the Giants may make it close. It's going to be at home. You're looking at the Dallas Cowboys. I know they lost Ezekiel Elliott, but they are still, going to be good enough to get this W. I think on the road, and they seem to have the Giants number. I mean, it's not like I haven't been wrong before. I really hope I'm wrong about this and that the Giants somehow pull this out. It's going to be a Sunday night game in front of big lights, national TV, but the Cowboys, I believe, are still the superior team and will get this win on the road. Now, last but not least, now this is where really could arguably be the most compelling and intriguing team in the NFL this season. My New York Jets at home against the Buffalo Bills. You get all this talk about Aaron Rodgers and all the hype, and they want to. There's people that are a lot of Jet fans out there thinking they could get to the Super Bowl, but I have to again. Even though I'm from New York, I'm a Jets fan. I gotta be again objective, take emotion out of the equation. And the Jets this season, I think they're good enough. They'll make the postseason. They'll get a wild card berth, but not to win the division. The Bills are not ready to renounce their title just yet in the AFC East, and they're not. I think that they're still good enough to beat the Jets in this particular matchup. The Jets got kind of a little bit of a hard schedule early on. They got the Bills, the Cowboys, I believe the Chiefs in like 3 of the first 5 games, and they're also going to have a road game against Denver fairly early in the season, like around week 5 or so, and that's not going to be any easy game. Russell Wilson is going to be improved this season. I think he's good, could very well have a bounce back season. I think it's at Denver anyway, but they will be playing the Broncos, at some point, and that's, that might not be as easy as people think it is. But the Jets right now, they're getting all the hype and all the rave reviews, and we're going to see if they're going to live up to it. I think there'll be an improved team this season. I don't think they're going to win the division, though. I think they can get in. They'll get in as a wild card, but they're just not quite ready. I don't think they could. They beat the Bills last season at home, I believe, but I don't know if they could do it right now. I think the Bills got that on their mind. That the Bills are still ready to show people that they're still that supreme team in the AFC East, and I believe they get the W. It'll be a close game, but the Bills, I believe, get this one on the road. So, anyway, people, well, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment, and until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.